Okay, so today's progress, we have the drivetrain completely out. It's all been degreased, it's ready to go. We loosened everything, disconnected a bunch of stuff on the old drivetrain here. So this was all ready to go and pull. We pulled the new frame out and we decided to flip it up to clean out the holes for the Transcross member and also add these holes. I always add drain holes on these boxed out Jeep frames so that debris and water or whatever can get out of the frame instead of sitting in there rotting it out. So you see all this on the ground? Yeah, this was all inside that one frame rail. So we needed to drill these out to put riv nuts in them because they just were no good. There were still threads in them, but not enough to be bothered with. This one had rust around it. This one had less rust around it, but I figured it's better just to cut them out and do them, and that way I could get inside and clean the frame out. So what I use on these frames to actually clean them is I use this tip. This is for like sewer pipes. It spins. It's got jets in it that face back towards the hose itself, and this spins at a high speed. And you just use it with a pressure washer, and somebody just has to hold the nozzle handle. I mean the trigger right here. When you stick this in the frame, it will actually pull itself up the frame because it's a jetting nozzle for drain pipes. What I do is I'll find places where I can get in the frame with it, and I will let it run up the frame, and I will work it back and forth and drag all this crap out of the frame. The last one we did, it's been several years, I did a TJ. For some reason, I'm thinking on the TJ there was an access here in the at the back of the frame, because I specifically remember dragging everything up the frame rail and out the back there. Unless somebody had cut a hole there, I don't know. I mean, so this, for all intents and purposes, when we purchased this 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, it was sitting elevated, everything, still had a body on it. It looked nice. I mean, it doesn't look bad, other than somebody chopped off the motor mounts to do whatever they were going to do. You know, and the skid plate's got some rust here. It's not the end of the world. But the rest of the frame, it looks clean. So when you get into these frames, buying a frame, replacement frame, whatever, we didn't do this because I can do the repair myself if it's minor because the frame looked good. It's a good idea to get one of these cheap endoscope cameras off Amazon. It plugs into your cell phone, you download an app, and you can put this lights up on the end, and you can put it inside those holes in this frame, or any frame. And it gives you can see all up inside there, to see if there's literally piles of rust inside the frame, for you to make the decision if you want to take a chance of the frame falling apart, or how you want to proceed. And it also helps you figure out what you want to pay for a frame versus what somebody thinks it's worth, just because it looks clean. Now, I don't think we did bad on this because we got the frame, the fuel tank with a working sender and fuel pump. Not that we really needed it. We had gotten good fenders with it. We got a good body tub with it, with the family cage. We're going to use all of that. We got a good 4-cylinder exhaust manifold because they usually break. So for $700, and I went and picked it up. It was local enough I could go there with my truck and trailer and just pick it up. I think we got a decent deal for what this frame is. But like I said, the TJ I did, which was also a very clean frame, no rust showing on the outside at all, actually, if I remember, had at least this much come out of it. Sand and dirt and all kinds of just crap, because it gets in there and it just sits there. There's nowhere for it to go except to sit in this area here And then in the back here where it rots out, it just sits in those areas. There's nowhere for it to go because you have all these holes from the assembly line from manufacturing process, and this is behind the wheel here. Crap just goes right up in there, and then it sits back here and it rots out this whole back section of the frame. And the same up here. You've got all these holes by the wheels where everything just gets thrown off of it, off the tires. You go through a puddle, you're driving in the rain. Wintertime, up here in the Northeast, they spray that saltwater brine crap all over the road. That gets all up inside the frames on these vehicles. So, for all intents and purposes, you can see this is nice, clean, shiny metal I've cut into. So I've got something solid to weld to. We're going to make patches up. I'll weld them in, I'll dress the welds, and then we're going to put rib nuts in. I've got some grade 8 steel rib nuts that are going to go in. We'll get the panel on here while it's up in the air like this. That way we can make sure we're drilling these in the right location, put rib nuts in those. And once that's all done, we'll flip the frame the other way, and I'll have to clean out that frame rail too and inspect it. A lot better than how we inspected it when we bought it. See if it needs any repairs. Now, once I drill these holes for drains and I clean all this crap out of the frame, what I end up doing is I end up going back after this is dried several days and not been driven, just sitting somewhere is drying in the sun, whatever. I go back and I will take this Eastwood internal frame coat. It says it converts and encapsulates rust and all that with phenolic resin and zinc and all that happy shit. Well, this comes in this green color, which is what I buy. It also comes in black. The reason I buy the green is because what you do is you take this nozzle that it comes with this long hose, and you shove it up inside the frame through all these various holes that are all through the frame, and you push this and you drag it back out of the frame. And this is a 360 degree spray nozzle on the end here. You have to make sure you do it and you use it and everything else, because basically once you use this, you want to do as much as you can in one shot, because one of these comes with a can. Once you're done, it's clogged, it's trash, unfortunately. I've yet to find a way really to clean it to where I can reuse them. You can see on the box, it shows you that it's got that type of spray tip. And the reason I use the green is because with the green, I can actually see pretty easily with that endoscope and with looking through the holes in the frame that I have fully coated the inside of the frame, or if I need to second coat an area, go back after a certain area. And this isn't, I don't by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that this is going to rebuild your frame and it's going to make it never rust again and the frame's going to last you forever. This is not, we're building this for us. We're not building it for sale. We're building this for something to drive around, nice weather, have fun with, whatever. This is not being built to go drive on the beach. It's not being built for us to go wheeling with or rock crawling or any crazy shit like that. It's going to be, a mall crawler, more or less. Just a stock, rebuild, drive around, top off or bikini top, enjoy yourselves. Putting this type of coating inside should extend the life of the frame, in my opinion, several years longer than if you had done nothing and just left all this garbage lay inside the frame. You leave all that in there, moisture sits in that, salt sits in that in the wintertime, and all it does is rot the frame out that much faster, because you've got all that moisture just sitting in the frame against the bottom of the frame, rotting it out. So that's where we are at today. We're going to get back at this, make up the patches, get all the welding done, get this flipped over, work on the other side, whatever we can get done whatever we can get done today, and then tomorrow's another day. Hopefully I can get all this situated today, and tomorrow we'll be swapping those axles onto this frame and mocking up the drivetrain, get those motor mounts moved over, and keep moving forward, because I'm also waiting on parts anyway. So hopefully, I know it's a pretty long-winded explanation of this, that, and the other, but hopefully there's some good information there for you guys that want to do this stuff on your own. You don't know exactly what products to buy or where to go or what to do when you run into something like this. And I mean, I even looking up online, because I'm like, well, you know, I haven't done a Jeep in, I don't know, 10 years, we'll say. So I figured, let me see if let me go on the forums, I'll do a search, Google search, whatever, and see what people say about fixing this stuff. See if there's been anything new put out. And the gist of it basically was either cut out this entire bottom section, replace it new, depending on what you need to do, and put grade 8 bolts on the inside, weld them on the inside, and then weld the patch plate on. So you have basically threaded grade 8 studs sticking down that you would put nuts on. The other one I saw was what we're doing, which is drill them out, put some grade 8 riv nuts in there. If you don't know what a riv nut is, it's a threaded insert. So this is a riv nut, and this is a riv nut tool. When you're going to do big ones, I suggest you get the longer tool. They sell these tools in different lengths online, and they usually come with an assortment. So like this came with more than enough 1/2 inch by 13s, and it comes with all these bits. It'll come with a selection of each one of these, and then you can buy these separately. But it came with enough. I only need 6 to do the whole frame. I've got more than enough to do the frame with just what came with the kit. These kits are not expensive. So what happens is you got to know what size drill bit you need to drill this out. It's 11/16 for this particular one, so you have to drill those out to 11/16. What you will do is you will open these handles, you will screw this on, and you'll stick this in the hole in the frame, and then you just squeeze the handles together. And what it does is, when you do the handles, you can see it pulls that threaded part back into the gun. And when it pulls that threaded part back into the gun, what it's doing is it's pulling this internally. And this area that's knurled, it will cause that to bulge on the inside of the frame. So on the outside of the frame, you'll have the lip here. On the inside of the frame, this will bulge out, and it'll bite into the metal, and then you can screw your bolts into it. So that is how we choose to fix this particular frame. I think the third option I saw was people were talking about how they cut holes in the sides, basically right where these are, and they just bend a big flap open. They get in there and they grind it down or remove the old one or something like that, and then they'll take a flange nut, which is a nut with a big flare on it, and they'll put that on the inside and they'll weld it from the inside. Then they'll bend the flap shut, re-weld where they cut it open, dress all the welds so you don't see it. And so that was basically the third solution that I saw. But like I said before, hopefully it's a lot of information and very long-winded, but hopefully there's information there that can help somebody else when they run into these issues.